Hey y'all, welcome back to Testimony and Transparency. In today's video, we are celebrating 100 subscribers on YouTube. Y'all, this is so amazing. Thank you so much for those of you who have been subscribed. And for those of you who are new here, if this is your first time tuning in, this is an extension of my small business, Naturally Created for You. And so a few months ago, I got this idea that I was going to take the emails that I was writing every week and I was going to start talking about them in a podcast. And so that's what these episodes are. I have been sharing emails since 2023. So some of the emails are from a couple of years ago. This one today is from this week because we hit 100 subscribers recently, and I want to celebrate and just say thank you and just share a little background. So the email goes, "Good morning. In September 2020, I started a YouTube channel to build an audience for Naturally Created for You. Mind you, I started my company in April 2020. So I launched this YouTube channel in September 2020. Like most of the things I start, I have no idea what I'm doing. I start and figure it out as I go. If you know me in real life, you know I am a complete mess, but somehow I make it work. I barely created any videos because I didn't know what to record. In February 2021, I was devastated from breaking my elbow a month earlier. And so I used this time to start creating educational content for other business owners. I literally just started recording things that I have learned in my business to try to help other business owners. So a lot of it had to do with social media, Shopify, website design, things like that, customer loyalty. I started going live on Instagram like every single week, and I was putting those out there and just sharing what I learned and trying to teach others and help other business women not make the same mistakes I made. And so I was just putting out this content. And so it says, I did this on and off for a few years until I was completely burned out. Even though the channel was growing, I was sick of teaching. So in February 2024, I stopped posting any business content and started posting about my faith journey. And I was doing this across all my platforms. I was sharing more on Naturally Created for You about my faith. The mission changed from me just promoting natural skincare to me using my business to point others to Christ and just share God's goodness. And so everything started changing in 2024. 2024 is also the year that I started homeschooling my daughter. So lots going on during this time. And then the email goes on. It says the YouTube channel died. There was hardly any growth or engagement. So in July 2025, I made the hard decision to start over. And so what happened was I changed from posting content, teaching business owners. I had built this entire channel teaching business owners, and I was like, forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. I was burnt out. I was sick of it. And I was like, I'm just going to talk about Jesus. That's all I want to talk about. And y'all, the YouTube channel died. There was no growth, no engagement. And I was like, man, that didn't go as planned. So in July 2025, I made the decision to start over. And I remember I was working on ChatGPT and just brainstorming and planning. And I realized I have to start over. And I remember I called my friend and I was like, I think I'm going to have to start over. And I felt so sad because I had been building this channel since 2021. And y'all, if you've ever like worked really, really hard to do something and then you realize I don't want to do this anymore. So then you pivot and then that just like completely goes sideways and doesn't work out. You are left feeling like you have completely wasted a lot of time and have nothing to show for it. And it was very, very sad. So let's pick back up in the email. I started a new YouTube channel to build a community for people genuinely interested in growing their faith. A couple weeks ago, that channel, Testimony and Transparency, hit 100 subscribers. Yay! Praise the Lord. So I started over, and that was in July 2025. So literally almost a year later, because this happened back in June, we hit 100 subscribers. So praise the Lord for that. The channel originally started with me sharing weekly videos, but in December 2025, I couldn't keep up. And so, just to touch a little on that, when I started the channel, I had a list of all these topics that I wanted to talk about. And so, I would go and record like about 10-minute videos, sometimes a little shorter, a little longer on these topics. And I was doing that weekly, and I was so proud of myself for the consistency of it. But then I was just like, I can't keep thinking of all these topics. Like, it was so overwhelming. And for some people, it's like, what's the big deal? But for me, think about it. I was homeschooling, I was running two different businesses. I had a lot of personal stuff going on in my home. And so I was struggling to think of things to be able to pour into other people and help them in their faith and encourage them. And so yeah, I couldn't keep up with it. So moving on, it became overwhelming. So I took some time to pray and consider how to move forward. And so I was just pouring my heart out to the Lord, like, I wanted to do a podcast, but the podcast that I had originally planned to interview people and share testimonies, I didn't have the capacity for that. And so I was just praying, like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? And so March 2026 is when the podcast was born. The podcast is an extension of Naturally Created for You and the weekly emails I write each week. It's so amazing to me how God has woven things together over the years. I enjoy reflecting on this journey, even with all the setbacks and times of burnout, and it reminds me that His plan is always greater. I was so discouraged about starting a new YouTube channel. My old channel had over 700 subscribers at the time, and I felt like I wasted it. Turns out God gave me wisdom for that as well to get it re-engaged. And so before I finish reading the email, I do want to touch on this because as I mentioned, I was so sad that this channel was just completely dead. And I really felt like I dropped the ball and I wasted the opportunity. And I had worked so hard and even put up some money to make the channel look better. And I had hired like an editor a few years earlier to do like thumbnails. Like, I felt like I had completely just wasted so much time and even money. And so when I decided I wasn't going to post that faith content anymore and I was going to start a new channel, I went back to teaching. And I felt I was in a good space for it. Like, I was like, I'm just going to share whatever I want to share and hope that it helps another businesswoman. I talked about a lot of different things and eventually I got burned out again. Eventually I got burned out again. And during the time to where I was burned out on what to post to the new testimony and transparency page and my business channel, I was just praying for like, Lord, what can I do that I'm not going to get burned out? That is something that I can keep up with, but it's also going to be helpful to others. And so that's when the podcast idea came about. And then he also gave me a vision for my business channel. So I'm no longer going on there. Just it's all educational and me teaching stuff. It's more me just like sharing my experience as a businesswoman. And that is really where my heart is. Like, I just like to share my journey and what I've learned. And so it truly is amazing how God has really brought this together to where I don't feel overwhelmed. It does require a little bit of planning, obviously, because I have to sit down and record and edit and upload. But I don't feel that burden of like, what am I going to post anymore? Okay, so to finish the email, it says, God is faithful. The verse that I'm meditating on this week is Proverbs 3:3. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. No matter how many times you have tried and failed or become burnt out, remember to seek God's wisdom, love God, and be faithful. No matter where you're at, this is what we should strive to do every single day is to seek the wisdom of God, love God, and be faithful to God. And I have seen throughout my entrepreneurship journey how, as I have done these things, God has continued to show up and weave things together and blow my mind. Y'all, it may not seem like a lot of subscribers to some people. Oh, it's only 100. Well, for me, that's a lot. That's 100 people who have decided to subscribe to my page, even if they don't watch every single video. The fact that they have decided to support and subscribe means a lot. For those of you who do watch the videos and in its entirety, I appreciate you. But more than that, it's we have to learn how to express gratitude for small beginnings. We live in a society to where we want things so quickly and we want to do the least amount of work as possible in order to achieve the highest results. And that's just not how it works most of the time. Can God do that? Can you meet the right connection and just everything changes overnight? Yes. Absolutely. But typically, that's not how it works. And so, what I have learned is to just have gratitude for the small things. Because if we can't have gratitude for 100 subscribers because we're trying to get 1,000 or 100,000, then we're not going to appreciate those things either because we're just going to keep trying to get to the next thing instead of really being present where we are and appreciating where we are in the journey of becoming. And so wanted to share that email with you. I hope that it blesses somebody. Again, thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. If you are new here, please subscribe if this content has blessed you. And again, I love y'all. I am very excited for what the Lord does the rest of 2026. We are still very new to this podcast, and I just continue to do the things that the Lord puts in my heart to do, and that is to point people to Christ and encourage others through his word. And so those are things that I'm very focused on. I love y'all, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.